Hi there, long time no see. In today's video, I will be adding a second SSD to my ThinkPad T480s, but before I actually open up the laptop, I would like to talk about the differences between different types of M2 SSDs, and I will also show you what kind of SSD you need to add a second SSD to your ThinkPad T480 or T480s. So as you can see, here I have three different M.2 drives, and they are all NVMe drives as opposed to SATA drives, because the secondary M.2 slot in all modern ThinkPads only supports NVMe drives. So even if I install a SATA drive into my ThinkPad T480s, it would not work. So I need an NVMe drive. And another thing is that you would need an M.2 2242 drive. So here you can see that this drive is 80 millimeters in length. So this is a standard 2280 drive, and it's way too large to fit into the secondary slot of my T480s or the T480 for that matter. So you would need a smaller drive, such as these two drives instead. But unfortunately, not all 2242 drives are created equal. So here you can see that this drive has only one slot in the connector. This is the so-called M key, and this drive has two slots in the connector. So this is the M key, and this is the B key, I believe. And unfortunately, this drive would not fit into the secondary M.2 slot in the ThinkPad T480s or the ThinkPad T480, because the slot in these machines is B keyed. So basically now you know what type of drive you need to install a second SSD into your ThinkPad T480 or T480s. So you would need an NVMe drive, which is 42 millimeters in length. So this is a 2242 drive, and it also should have two slots in the connector. So it should have both the M key and the B key. As you can see, I have removed the bottom cover from the laptop. And by the way, if you are using a modern ThinkPad with an internal battery, you should go into the BIOS and disable the internal battery first if you don't want to fry your motherboard. And this is where the secondary SSD goes. So this is the slot for a cellular modem, which I don't have installed in my T480s, and I will install my secondary SSD right here. So to install my secondary SSD, I need to lift off this cover, remove the screw, and I also need to remove these two wires, which are held in place by this piece of tape. Then you install the drive as usual. And screw it in. And what I like to do is to put the wires on both sides of the drive so they don't interfere with closing the bottom cover. And as you can see, the drive shows up in the operating system, so now I can format it and use it for storing my data.